Ah, the perpetual struggle of being a public figure. So, something interesting has happened recently, and there is an infamous Twitter account called Libs of TikTok, and it's hard to not accurately emphasize how much this one random anonymous account has now become something that influences politics. Because really, it started out entirely being a look at these crazy kids on TikTok, and this is how the left is trying to destroy America, and blah, 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 blah kind of shit. But they've been retweeted by all the usual grifters, just constant, unending pounding of garbage, stealing people's content, boosting it, spreading fucking lies, misinformation, pseudoscience, etc., etc. And then recently, they were interviewed on Tucker Carlson, and it turns out that they got found out. They got found out. Now, some people call this doxing, but the problem with it is that when it comes to, especially like United States law, we are, as citizens, we are presumed to have a reasonable expectation of privacy. But there's a threshold. There is a threshold, and we're going to talk about that threshold in a little bit. But first, let's catch up on what exactly is happening. It's from Newsweek. Why Taylor Lorenz Libs of TikTok expose has outraged conservatives. And don't get me wrong, I'm not the biggest fan of Taylor Lorenz. I don't really have that big of a problem with her either. But I have my own criticisms of some of the past stuff that she's done. But I don't really see anything necessarily wrong with the concept of what's happening. As news that Washington Post columnist Taylor Lorenz is about to publish a piece revealing the identity of the creator of Twitter accounts Libs of TikTok started spreading, outraged conservatives accused the journalist of doxing and harassing the anonymous account holder. The conservative account Libs of TikTok, which mostly shares content attacking liberals as well as school teachers, accused of the alleged grooming and indoctrination of children on LGBT rights, has become a social media sensation the past 2 years, achieving a follower base of some 648,000 on Twitter. That's over 500,000, over 66,000 on Instagram, and 9,000 on YouTube. Okay, all right, and that's quite a bit. And also, I will echo this too. the fight against schools and CRT and LGBT, like that paranoia panic, that fear porn that the right has been pushing, right at the center of it, Libs of TikTok. Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. They spread so much viral garbage about this. The account was also once active on TikTok but deactivated, the anonymous creator told the New York Post in an interview in February. In her piece published on Tuesday, Lorenz named the person behind the popular account as Chaya Reishik, who had worked as a real estate agent in Brooklyn in late 2020 when Libs of TikTok was first created. Now, I don't have a problem reading this because obviously now it's completely open and public and that sort of thing. But the threshold, and we're going to get there. We're going to get there because that's what I find really interesting about this. We're going to keep reading, but I want to talk about the threshold, and that's what I think is like core at this entire argument. Lorenz's intention to reveal the identity of the then mysterious account holder on the Washington Post became public knowledge when Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis' press secretary, Christina Pushaw, shared a screenshot of an email allegedly sent by Washington Post journalists asking her for comment on the story. Taylor's a very pretty woman. The Bezos Post Internet Hall monitor is so excited to expose Libs of TikTok. Here's my comment. Just a clown emoji, yeah. In Pashaw's tweet, Lorenz is allegedly working on a story exposing the woman behind Libs of TikTok. Pashaw's comment in response to Lorenz's request is, in her tweet, a clown emoji. Pashaw's tweet sparked a social media storm among conservatives on the platform who accused Lorenz of doxing and harassing Libs of TikTok's creator. Harassing Libs of TikTok's creator. This is somebody who takes like TikTok, like little TikToks that had maybe like 30 or 40 views of just some awkward kid, some awkward teenager, and then shares it so it can be laughed at and mocked, and that person fucking harassed by tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people. Boo fucking who? Cry me a fucking river. Jesus Christ. Many accuse Lorenz of hypocrisy for allegedly exposing another woman to the same type of online harassment that she had complained about receiving in a recent interview. New York Post writer Emma Jo Morris wrote, Taylor Renz is a 43-year-old woman with a byline of blah, 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 blah. I don't really give a shit about that. It does not fucking bother me. Accused Lorenz of doxing a teenager. Also, spoiler alert. What's their fucking name again? Chaya is not a teenager. So, yeah. Yeah. No one involved in the story is remotely a teenager, responded Lorenz. Taylor Lorenz about to expose a private citizen behind some anonymous account on Twitter. And when people criticize her for it, she and her friends will claim Taylor is the real victim. And anyone criticizing this type of journalism will be guilty of causing her trauma, wrote journalist Glenn Greenwald. We know how we feel about Glenn Greenwald over here. Motherfucker tried to spread the Ukrainian biolab story with absolutely doing zero fucking research at all. And surprise, surprise, got the entire fucking thing wrong. Imagine my shock. This has nothing to do with journalism, just politics, you fucking ball gargler. Journalism isn't about exposing things for the sake of it. It's exposing matters in the public interest about powerful institutions. Well, look, that's fucking stupid. That's absolutely ridiculous. Obviously, it is exposing matters in the public interest, but about powerful institutions, that ideally would be great. That is something that Glenn Greenwald used to do, but doesn't anymore, and instead just regurgitates propaganda. But it's anything in the public interest. That's what the media is. It is putting a highlight on something in the public interest. That's important. Public interest. Threshold. Don't worry. We're getting there. In a long thread, he accuses Lorenz of being aroused by exposing teenagers and blah, blah, blah. Just bullshit. The most basic reporting practices, right-wing media, is this doxing. Lorenz is also accused on social media of showing up at the house of relatives of the Libs of TikTok account holder. However, this information has not been confirmed. Who fucking knows? Libs of TikTok is one of the most influential accounts in the conservative landscape on social media, and its tweets receive thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, or hundreds of thousands of likes. Yes. Again, one of the most influential accounts in conservative landscape. But it couldn't possibly be in the public interest to know anything about this. Of course not. Its content regularly misgenders non-binary and transgender people and has called civil rights protesters criminals. Last weekend, it emerged that the person tweeting from the Libs of TikTok account said they'd attended the January 6th protests at the Capitol in tweets now deleted but recorded on several screenshots. This was 100% confirmed. At the time, the Twitter handle of the account was Shia Ray. While conservatives have lashed out at Lorenz, others in social media have sided with the Washington Post journalist. It's interesting that Glenn Greenwald doesn't think it's in the public interest to know that the person who's running an account that is massively influential in the current marching orders for right-wing grifter politics is a fucking insurrectionist. He doesn't think that that's relevant. He doesn't think that that's important. Really? How interesting that is. How weird. Replying to Greenwald's Twitter thread, user Jeffrey Sachs wrote, I'm not sufficiently in the weeds to parse the Taylor Renz angle or all the other alleged hypocrisies, but the underlying story is definitely legit news. Libs of TikTok is an important account. It makes news, it shapes events, and drives policy. Of course, it's fair game. This person who has not been doxxed or anything like it, by the way, is playing victim because Lorenz is about to put out a story about them. The story must be pretty damning for them and all conservative media to be so aggressive in getting out ahead of it. So, here's where... Oh, here we go. Libs of TikTok posted on Twitter, I'm currently holed up in a safe location. Oh, she wrote, I'm confident we'll get through this and come out even stronger. Oh, no! Jeez. Boo-hoo! Holy shit. Look, all right. The threshold. Average everyday citizens in America get a reasonable expectation of privacy. Now, that goes away when, like, say, you're out in public in, like, a park or something like that. Anybody can see you. I mean, you can't really, like... You can't really expect that you might not be recorded, okay? You might not be recorded. And that is, like, kind of where it goes for, like, regular private citizens, okay? public persons is what happens when you are gaining some notion of notoriety. For instance, like you cannot have a reasonable expectation of privacy if you're, say, let's go all the way to the top, a movie star or a president. Obviously, people are going to know who the fuck you are. But all the way down to like city commissioners, things like that. There is no reasonable expectation of privacy for a small town mayor. There is no reasonable expectation of privacy for a YouTuber that is of significant size, like myself. I have no reasonable expectation of privacy because I am considered a public person. Legally speaking, that's just how it fucking is. That's just how it is. And to answer somebody who is actually in the chat, how would I like it if it happened to me? It has. It has happened to me. 100%. Now, is anybody exposing this person's address and boosting it onto a website or something? No. They're talking about who is the person behind those words. And because that account is so fucking influential, the idea that we might need to know what kind of person it is? I mean, sure, it'd be great if we could just be like, well, yeah, this person happened to be an insurrectionist, but let's just not say her name, you know. But let's be reasonable here. They're going to know. They're going to know. It's very, very, very simple. There's no legal public person? Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Public person is used in legal arguments. 100 fucking percent. If you don't, and like this is the thing. I get into these conversations with people all the fucking time. If you don't know what you're talking about, stop fucking talking. Because you don't know. You don't understand. It's as simple as that. So, again, not to get too distracted, this person, they can influence public policy. People can take them at their word and try and figure and be like, oh, yeah, of course, CRT is infecting our fucking schools and liberals want to like groom their children, blah, 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 blah. While simultaneously never saying anything about, you know, Matt Gaetz or Jim Jordan or any of the other fucking weird, cringe, disgusting motherfuckers on the right. They won't say anything about that because it's all a political thing. It is absolutely in the public interest to know who that person is. 100%. Now, if it was just some random ass account with like, I don't know, 5 to even 20,000 fucking Twitter followers, and they hadn't been boosted on Tucker Carlson, they hadn't been boosted in major right-wing like conversations and shit, would I be okay with somebody being like, that's their name? It would depend. It would depend on their influence. But if they got big enough, and by holy freaking fucking God, Libs of TikTok absolutely is way beyond that threshold, yes, it is absolutely reasonable. That is the purpose of the media. People just don't fucking like it. Sorry. Simple as that. Because if you allow for the possibility that them releasing Chaya's name in attachment to Libs of TikTok is doxing, every single video I have made on my channel calling out fucking scam artists, if I found anything about them that they did not publicly state themselves, then I did it too. But that's not what it fucking means. This is all pearl clutching, whining and simping and yammering about all of this shit because they no longer have the protection of just being a simply anonymous person. It's as simple as that. And also, I gotta say, real Chad move, real Chad hours, having somebody that has their full legal fucking name and their face attached to the words that they say should hold a lot more strength and conviction in their arguments than some random asshole hiding behind anonymity and making fun of a bunch of kids for being awkward. So yeah, Libs of TikTok can eat my fucking ass.